My name is Gina Davis, and this is Davis Creek Cellars. I grew up in Idaho. I've lived here all my life, so I started this winery about 3 years ago. Before that, I worked for a couple other wineries in the area, Sawtooth Winery as well as St. Chapelle, and I also worked for Koenig for a little while. We started in '07 with our very first harvest. We do about 14 different varietals now and about 1,200 cases, so kind of ambitious, but working at Sawtooth we did a lot of different kinds of wines, and here I'm actually getting to do those and keep them completely separate and have separate wines. So we're doing Pinot Gris, Viognier, Chardonnay, Rosé of Syrah, Tempranillo, Malbec, Touriga Nacional, Cabernet, Merlot, a late harvest Syrah, an Up a Creek Syrah with just a little bit of residual sugar, and we're also doing a Boise Blanco Riesling, which is sweet. And we also do a South Mountain Red, and we're going to do a Hingler blend, which is from the Payette County, which is just north of here.
It sounds like you really enjoy the science aspect and the experimentation.
Yep. Give me a new variety so I can try it out and see what we can make with it, especially reds. We like to do as much with reds as possible. I'm the first winery to be producing wine in the new University of Idaho Business Incubator. This was our first harvest here, and this is our first harvest doing things completely on our own. The previous two harvests we co-crushed with Koenig Vineyards. This has been a great facility. It's been a great opportunity to be able to come into a place that was set up for wineries to start out fresh and new and just get going. And we've already started to outgrow our space, and so they're going to give us either 2 bays or one giant bay that's all joined together, because they came in and said we didn't realize a winery needs this much space. So hopefully next year we won't have picking bins in the parking lot. And yeah, I worked for Sawtooth for Brad Pintler for 3 years, and that's really where I got my hands dirty and learned how the process works and learned how to make wine is from him.
And I've kind of likened Brad Pintler to kind of the Earl Jones of Idaho. He just loves to experiment with basically every variety that comes across the border.
Yep. We were doing 26 different varieties over there, so probably eventually I'll end up getting close to that. So. Because it's kind of handy, they all come off the vine at a little bit different time, and so we just kind of space them out. We do most of our reds in 1 to 2 ton lots in macro bins, so it's pretty easy to manage the fermentations, keep things separate going through the cellar, and then have a couple of blends on the side going of just kind of odds and ends, but that turn out well. So,
what's the wine that's the largest case production that you make here?
Probably right now it's either the Pinot Gris or the Viognier. They're both around 140 cases, although it looks like next year Tempranillo is going to be our largest case production.
No, it's a lot of your grape sources are in the Snake River Valley, but I also know you get Pinot Gris from the Yakima Valley, and you're doing something with Red Mountain fruit also?
Yeah, this is the first year I'm doing some fruit off Red Mountain. We were able to get some Touriga as well as Tempranillo, because Tempranillo, we're getting a little bit short of it here in the valley. There's too many wineries that want to make Tempranillo and just not enough available for us. The same with Malbec, and I wanted to do a little bit of Touriga Nacional, and so I went ahead and went with a source up there as well.
Where do you feel as though the direction for the Idaho wine industry should go in terms of varieties?
I think we need to stay true to what we started with, which is the Riesling and the Chardonnay. We still do those probably the best, but there's a lot of unknown varieties that we just really haven't tried out here and to the full extent. Most of the varieties I do, there's less than 7 acres of them even planted in the valley, and that's why I'm going out of state to get them. But we can grow wonderful Malbec and Tempranillo, Touriga, Syrah, Merlot, all of those. Well, they do well here. We just don't have the acreage of them that we really need.
I would say probably the wine that you did that really got our attention was the Pinot Gris that you did. Can you talk about the fruit source and how you came about it?
Well, the fruit source on that one, I talked with another grower who was down here, and I was supposed to be getting Pinot Gris from his vineyard, and we had a bad frost in '07, and most of the whites we were really short on them. So I talked with him, and he had already been in contact with a grower up in Washington who had Pinot Gris, and he says, "You want to try this out and see how it goes?" And I said, "Sure." And I tasted some of his wines that he had made off of that vineyard, and they're really nice wines. So we went ahead and gave it a try that first year, and we've been making it ever since. We're really happy with the fruit source. I'm a graduate of the University of Idaho in horticulture and crop science. I did take a couple of viticulture classes in college from WSU, but for the most part I was over at U of I being a vandal. Yeah, my parents have been helping me ever since I started. They do the farmers market every Saturday in Boise. In fact, they're there today, even though it snowed last night. So they've been doing that. My dad is basically my cellar rat. He works in the cellar all through harvest, doing whatever we need to get done, because it's hard to operate the equipment just with one person. So he's here helping me run things and getting the grapes processed and getting things loaded in the press, and just kind of being there to do what needs done and being a real help. I'm a member of the County Farm Bureau Board, so I get to do a little bit of travel and do some leadership conferences. We also do activities here in the valley. I also quilt, which there's a few of us in the industry that quilt, and we call ourselves the quilting winos sometimes. So, because we're either quilting or we're making wine, and that's about all we seem to get done. It has made a huge difference to be able to put an AVA on our labels to say that we are a wine growing region. We're not just a bunch of people here in Idaho that decide to make wine. We actually have something that's more set in stone that really sets us apart from the rest of the state. And just in the last 5 years, there's been at least 10, 15 new wineries in the valley, and I'm one of those. It's been a great opportunity. It just put us before the public eye a lot more so that we were able to get out there and do what we want to do.